If you've ever looked around at your life and thought, I guess this is as good as it's gonna get, then this video is for you. This video is about the areas that I've settled in, how I realized I was settling, and how I stopped, and you can too. I believe that we were not born on this earth to settle, but to honor our desires and to stop calling crumbs meals. A lot of times we think that settling is just being okay with how things are, even if they're not catastrophically harming us. But really, settling is living in dullness, living in misalignment, and not expressing or living in our truest version of ourselves. And I think the saddest part of settling is that a lot of people are not even aware that they are. There are 3 checkpoints that I ask to ask if I'm settling. The first is, are there more excuses that I have than actual reasons? Am I trying to justify an experience, a person, a relationship more than the reasons I actually want to be in it? So am I making excuses for staying in a job that I don't like more than the reasons as to why I actually want this job? That's the first cue. The second cue is a litmus test. Would I want this experience for my best friend? Would I want this experience for my sister? Would I want this experience for my daughter? And if the answer is no, then I'm settling. That question can put a lot of pressure on a person, like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want this experience for my daughter, so I need to. And it's not that, it's just if my standards for the people that I hold and cherish the most in my life, if I have a standard for them, then I should uphold that same standard for myself. If I treasure them, then I can also treasure myself. And the third is, am I doing this out of obligation, or am I doing this to fill a void or to fill a numbness? When we are settling, we can answer the question like, okay, you're entertaining this person. Is it because you genuinely feel alive and well, want to hear from them? Or is it because you feel lonely, because you feel a void, because you feel a numbness? That is settling. Are you answering the call because you've had this person in your life for 15 years, but after the phone call, you don't feel alive, you don't feel well? And that's not to say cut people off immediately, but I'm saying these are cues to build an awareness of where you're settling, where you feel dull, where you don't feel alive, where you don't feel lighter or more energetic after an experience. Like, you know those people where you hang out with them and you just feel alive, or you go on a trip and you just feel alive again? You're meant to live life like that. You're meant to live your daily life like that. And so building practices and checkpoints to see where in my life am I not feeling alive can help you get back to that point. And I also want to say that there's no shame in settling. There's no shame in being like, okay, I'm really gonna hone in on this part of my life. For example, you really want to focus in on your career. So you're focused on your career, It's okay to settle in not building or cultivating the truest forms of friendship, because you're putting your attention and your energy in one area of your life, and that's super valid. But it's cultivating that awareness of saying, okay, I'm investing my energy here so that this part of my life is in its fullest capacity. But when we feel dull, when we feel like lackluster or life is gray, it's more likely than not that we are compromising or settling in multiple areas of our life. And the whole point of this video is to help you tune into, where am I settling and how can I stop? So now that you've realized this part of my life, I've been settling, I don't really like, I'm not really proud of, I don't feel full from it, I don't feel alive from it, what can you do? And for me, what I realized was the more that I poured into myself, the more that I believed that I was worthy and deserving, the less I tolerated spaces and places and people that were not in alignment with that. And an analogy I love is going to a phone store and being ready for your upgrade, and them saying, actually, we don't have the iPhone 12 or 13 or 14. The only iPhone we have in stock is the iPhone 9. And your initial reaction is, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna downgrade my life or my quality of my phone in order to have what's the most convenient around me. I'm either gonna go to another store and get the iPhone that I know that I deserve, or I'm gonna wait for the next thing. And so that is kind of like how I like to look at experiences, jobs, and people is, am I just doing this because it's conveniently in front of me? Or am I gonna wait because I know I deserve the best thing? I find when we are not certain about the upgrade, we're not certain that the iPhone 12 or 13 is in the next store or available to us, that's when we settle for the iPhone 9. That's when you settle for the job that isn't paying you enough, or where the manager isn't respecting you. That's where you are in the relationship where he's meeting some of your needs, but not all of them. It's because we don't believe that the next thing is either available, or we deserve it, or it will be better. You know, we have maybe a fear that the next iPhone actually will have more bugs or will not be as great as the one that we're used to. We've gotten comfortable and accustomed to settling. What I want to say to the fear of the unknown is that you're not afraid of what you don't know. You're afraid that it will be worse. Because if you knew that the next thing would be better, you wouldn't be afraid of it. If it was guaranteed that the next person, that the next job was going to be better, you would be that much more likely to apply to the job to end the current relationship. But it's because you have a fear that it'll be worse that you'll stay in places and environments that don't serve you. And what I say is that not the fear that you have of things getting worse, it's the fear that you do not have the tools or you're not equipped to handle if things get worse. Let's say you are in a job where your manager is not terrible, but not great. And then you are not getting paid as much as you would like. If in your next job they pay you less, or you have a terrible manager, you're going to leave. You're not going to tolerate it. You're going to say no. You're going to apply to a newer job more quickly. You're not going to stay in a place that's worse. And really, it's the self-trust that if the next job is worse, you will not stay in the place and you will not compromise in the same way you are now. There's a place in you that right now, as you are swallowing your desires, as you're swallowing your dreams, you are chipping away at what you truly desire. And the longer that you stay there, the more fear you will have to change, to see if you can be better, because you've just taught yourself that you'll stay in a place that doesn't serve you. And the more that you say no, the less that you tolerate, the more that you walk away, the more reps you put in to your self-trust that no matter what, you are not going to compromise. You're not going to dim yourself. You're not going to chip away at your desires in order to stay comfortable. Once you say no the first time, it gets easier to do. Once you walk away from a toxic job, it gets easier to do. Once you walk away from the wrong person, the next time another wrong person is presented to you, you walk away more quickly. It's a muscle. So it's not that you fear the unknown, it's that you fear your ability to handle the unknown. And the more reps you put into, I deserve the best, I will walk away if it's not that, I know my upgrade is coming, the more strong and equipped you will to build that muscle to really actually trust your desires and follow through with them. And I will say that it wasn't until I started to truly love myself and be rooted in my deservability that I stopped settling. Once you know that you truly deserve the best in life, you do not entertain people that do not want the best for you. You stop being in environments that don't bring out the best in you. You stop tolerating breadcrumbs and being like, at least it's no. You're like, I deserve the best. I know I deserve the best. So I'm not going to settle for anything less, because I wouldn't want this experience for my best friend. I wouldn't want this experience for my sister. I wouldn't want this experience for my daughter. So why am I being like, well, at least no. I also want to say that as a woman of color, we can be conditioned to believe that we deserve less, that we should be grateful for having a seat at the table, or we should be quiet and be just happy to be there. But no, I feel so connected to my ancestors, and I know that they did not survive for me to settle. They didn't go through all the strife in their life for me to be like, okay, well, I guess I'm only ever going to make this much, and I guess I'll just be okay when he treats me. No, they sacrificed so much. My parents sacrificed so much for me to be here. So I'm going to live my fullest dreams. I'm going to fulfill and honor all of my desires because they did not do it in vain. I'm not going to dim my light and what I desire out of fear. They would sacrifice way too much for me to be like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just have this. No. And also, another thing is, the more I speak up, the more money I ask for, the more I have in my life, the more I show other women that they can have the same. Other women of color can have the same or more. Once you expand and you live to your fullest capacity, you invite other people to do the same. It's like you break the ceiling for yourself and you show others that they can break their own ceilings too. But it always starts with you, what you ask for, what you believe you deserve, what you believe that's out there, what you believe you're capable of. It all begins to you. And I also want to say and acknowledge there are systems. There is systems pitted against me. I'm not going to call a spade a spade. This is true. But what I'm saying is that I'm not going to let those things limit myself. Yes, it's true. There's a gender gap and there's these things, but I'm not going to say no to myself. I'm not going to not negotiate for the pay. I'm going to do it because I deserve it. And I am not going to be my first no. I'm not going to be my first no. I will have no's. There will be things and systems in place that do impact me, but I am not going to limit myself. I will push that ceiling every single time because I deserve it, because my ancestors deserve it, and because every woman watching me also deserves it. It's threefold. It's me, it's all the women that have come before me, and all the women that come after me that deserve the highest, truest capacity of their life. So I'm not playing small. I'm not settling. I'm not gonna say, okay, well, I guess this is the best I can do. No, I deserve the best in life, and you do too. The last part of this video is, how do you stop? How do you stop settling? The first step is to recognize the places that you are. Is it in work? Is it in relationships? Is it in where you're living currently? Where are you settling? The second is, why are you settling? There's always a reason as to why, and the reason is often more deeper than you think. Do you fundamentally believe that you are deserving of more pay, of a better relationship, of moving across the country? Do you genuinely deserve that you're capable of it? That is the second step. And the third step is to question it. Where does that belief come from? Is it my belief? Because I promise you it's not. Question it. Be like, can I do more? Do I believe that I can accept more, that I'm worthy of more? Is the third step. And working on that enhances the quality of your life. I promise you, the more you believe you're worthy of more, the less you'll accept less. And the fourth step is expose yourself to better. Expose yourself to better. Start looking online or exposing yourself in person to the finer things in life. Go to a high-end mall and be like, I'm deserving of this. I'm deserving of this wealth. Not even because you want it, like you don't have to, but you are worthy of it. You're deserving of it. There's no shame in wanting the finer things in life. Going to a high-end dining experience and being like, I deserve this. I deserve this drink. I deserve this. I'm worth the investment because you are. And date the kind person. Date the person that treats you well because it teaches you that you are deserving of it. Once you have someone that treats you like a princess, it's very hard to go back. It's very hard to get breadcrumbs once you've been given a meal. Once you've had an Auchevelle burger, you cannot eat McDonald's the same way. You just can't. Once you've exposed yourself to the best and you believe that you're deserving of it, you do not settle. So exposure therapy is a real thing. Expose yourself to the best in life and you'll stop accepting less than that. The last thing I want to say is that if this message resonated with you, it's because there's a part of you that knows that your desires truly are available to you. Your desires are on the other side of actions that you might need to take or changes you might need to make, but it's not because you're not worthy of it or incapable. It's just changes and shifts that you might need to do in your lifestyle and in your mindset. But you're worthy of them. Your desires, I often say, are like your soul calling you. When you want something, it's because your soul wants that thing for you. It's not a coincidence. So honor it, listen to it, and tend to know that you're deserving and worthy of it simply because you exist. You don't have to work super hard for it to know that you're worthy of it. You might need to do things in order to achieve it, but there's nothing you need to do to be worthy of it. You're worthy of the finest things, the best things in life, simply because you exist. That's an affirmation that I often say is, I'm worthy and deserving of the best I am. If you liked this video, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos on how to love yourself more deeply so that you can experience more joy. Bye.